first-hand information of atrocities committed by warring parties on the people of the northwest and southwest English-speaking regions of Cameroon are shocking revelations made by a right defender working on ground zero, that is the northwest and southwest English-speaking regions, where an armed conflict has been running for over 5 years now. In this edition of the news, shocking, yes, you shall be listening to him in the course of this edition of the news. Meantime, the governor of the west region, a neighboring region to the northwest region, has visited soldiers wounded in an armed separatist attack in Babaju, one of the subdivisions of the Bambudos in the neighboring west region of Cameroon. Babaju is the subdivision that lies directly with Santa in the Mezam division on the border, as armed individuals have attacked the locality, wounding 3 gendarmerie officials. They are hospitalized in the West Regional Hospital, that is in the chief town of Bafoussam. They were visited by Governor Awafonka Augustine, who will be speaking in the course of this edition of the news. Sports, we shall be profiling the teams which have qualified so far to play the Africa Women's Nations Cup, due to kickstart in the northern African country of Morocco. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to understand more the distress cause of the people of the Akele division in the central region of Cameroon. They think that Akele is not being recognized by the central government of Cameroon, whereas according to them, the Akele gave everything for the independence of Cameroon. These stories and more will be yours in this edition of the news. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. It's the wisest weekend decision getting to be connected onto Equinoxe television for the prime time news. Everything happening in Cameroon in one newscast. Yes, it is the 6 p.m. We live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. Equinoxe Central News Desk. We shall be starting in human interest. Distress calls from Makai and Limai, all localities in the Akele of the central region of Cameroon. That distress calls have been addressed to the central government in Yaoundé. The people are frustrated after the lone bridge that links the locality to the rest of the central region got broken. They say that they had consulted the Ministry of Public Works in Cameroon, outlining that the bridge was very old and was about to collapse, but their calls were given deaf ears by the ministries concerned. We have details compiled in the following report by Immaculée Fokwe.
The lone bridge linking Limai and Makai, localities in the Akele division, collapses as a heavy-duty truck transporting building materials attempts crossing over. With tires suspended in the air, the entire content of the truck drops in the river.
Nous avons constaté que le pont a commencé à s'abîmer.
The bridge was very old and rusty. While the truck was crossing, the bridge could not resist its weight, causing it to collapse. The truck weighed over 20 tons. Constructed over 30 years ago, the mayor says she had informed the Minister of Public Works about the deteriorating state of the bridge. Minister had been informed about what happened. We are putting in effort in order that the challenges of the affected population are addressed. This bridge was taken from the Akele River and brought here. This is not a small project. It will cost at least 400 million francs CFA. The bridge is 21 meters long, so we need to prepare ourselves for such a huge project. Residents are worried over how they will cope, given that there is no available road that could be used in the meantime for the transportation of persons and goods. How are we going to go to our farms with our bikes? Even our children, how will they go to school? Access to our farms is now a big problem. Despite the fact that no one got hurt, enormous material damages were recorded. Over 200 bags of cement and other building materials were lost. Inhabitants of Limai and Makai are now keeping their fingers crossed as they wait for the government to address their challenges within the shortest time possible.
Yes, it is not just the collapse of the bridge linking Goma, Pobit, Keting localities like Limai and Makai from the rest of Cameroon that is disturbing the people of the Nyong Akele division. Yes, I indicated elite of the area say that several other subdivisions in the Nyong Akele are highly enclaved. They do not understand this happening in an independent Cameroon 60 years after independence. And independence fought with everything by sons and daughters of the Nyong Akele division. Some of their elites expressed their worries in this other report of the underdevelopmental status of the Nyong Akele division is compiled by Abila.
This is the lone road which links several divisions of the central region. They include the Opambam, Nyong Akele and the Sanaga maritime divisions. The state of the road has been deplorable, living in Nyong Akele in enclavement. Mbombok, Bapot, Lipot, Robert is an elite of the Nyong Akele and of the opinion that the road network must be improved upon.
Ce département est très enclavé. Il faut donc désenclaver Nyong Akele.
This division is very enclaved and Nyong Akele should be disenclaved. I can assure you that beyond my traditional and political caps, we are putting pressure on the government to consider this division, which has given a lot to the independence of this country.
Ces populations qui ont donné le meilleur d'elles-mêmes pour l'indépendance de notre nation.
This river serves as a means of transportation between Bidodibot Makak and Bobok Ung Edo. The contractor who reportedly took over the road construction project is said to be nowhere to be found.
And I will take reports on the very disturbing rights situations of the people caught in an armed conflict that's been running on for over 5 years now in the northwest and southwest English-speaking regions of Cameroon. We told you that a right defender working on the ground with the people affected by atrocities committed by warring parties on the unfortunate civilians reacted. That is the first-hand information released by an official in this edition of the news. Yes, he was part of a workshop organized by Right Defending Group, that is REDAC. It was organized by a center, that is an institution charged with the defense of human rights within Cameroon and the Central African sub-region. Of course, the workshop was organized to bring together defenders of human rights in Cameroon and other Central African countries in order to effectively arm them on how to collect data and publish information linked with the abuse of the rights of people. It should be recorded that human rights defenders in the conflict-stricken regions of the Central African sub-region and Cameroon have also had the opportunity to be trained on how to protect themselves during difficult moments and threat from warring factions coming from the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon and those from the Far North region. The human rights defenders have been drilled on how to keep themselves safe as they try to save the lives of people caught in the conflict. They were brought together in a training organized by REDAC, as I indicated, here in the city of Douala. At the end of the exercise, our reporter Anna Bila got a shocking revelation of a right defender working in the conflict-stricken northwest region of Cameroon. Afraid, he has accepted to give us a masked interview revealing some of the shocking realities faced by the people caught in the armed conflict that is running on for over 5 years now. Take a listen to the right defender in the following extract selected by Anna Bila.
My job consists of investigating human rights violations, educating, creating awareness on human rights, legal instruments and how to assert your rights, and also how to defend yourself as an individual, a human being within the context of the socio-political crisis. So that's a lot of what I am doing on the ground.
Thank you.
So I am based in Bamenda and I work in Bamenda. But living and working in Bamenda within the context of this socio-political crisis is a very, very big challenge. In fact, when I relate with my colleagues from other regions, I tell them that living and working in Bamenda these days is a skill. It's a skill because, the Northwest region today is a very divided society. Do not even think that the war is ongoing like that the whole population is on one side. No, it's very, very divided. And us, the human rights defenders, we are constantly suspected by the parties, the stakeholders on the ground. We receive a lot of threats. We are so traumatized, a lot of attacks and everything. So we find it very challenging where to really lean, whether on state protection or the non-state actors their own protection. Reason being that even when you receive the threats or you are attacked and you report to the state protection, to the state authorities, you are not very sure that your security will be guaranteed. So as a human rights defender now on that ground, what I am doing is I try as much as possible to count on myself first. I have established a very close internal security system within my family circle and within very close friends. So I rely on them first, but I still go through the formality to report incidents whenever they occur. So that is how I am managing to work now on the ground.
The family of a 39-year-old lady is asking for a thorough investigation into the death of the lady who works in the city of Douala. Reports from Douala said the lady was attacked by unidentified individuals and killed on her way back home after work, but the family members say that narrative is not accurate, as her lifeless body brought to the West region was seen to have no traces of her being abused or being stabbed with a sharp object, as indicated by her close collaborators in the city of Douala. The report is compiled by Mala Glory.
She dies after being severely tortured by unidentified men in Douala, the literal region where she worked as a waitress at a snack bar. The 31-year-old lady was assaulted while returning from work, according to family members.
Elle faisait dans les publicités des nouvelles bières.
She advertised drinks in the cities of Douala and Yaoundé. An election was organized in their meeting for the post of a president, after which she decided to celebrate with a friend. Together they visited other colleagues, which later on we heard she was being attacked.
So They
say the death of their daughter is far from being an attack. The arrival of the cops in the West region brought doubt to the people's mind just observing her body.
Quand le corps arrive, on ouvre dans la malle arrière de la voiture. Je suis la première personne à enlever.
When the cops arrived, we opened the boot of the car. I immediately took off her dresses to confirm the attack or torture, according to what we were told. But was surprised there were no traces of wounds.
Jusqu'à ce qu'elle décède, il n'y a pas de traces de couteau, de blessures sur son corps.
The girl leaves behind friends and family members to mourn her. However, the family calls for proper investigation so justice can prevail.
The West region, which is also paying a heavy price as a neighbor to someone in difficulties. Yes, it is paying a heavy price to the armed conflict rocking the two neighbors of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Recently, a security post in Babaju. Babaju is one of the subdivisions of the Bambutus division, a neighboring division to the conflict-stricken northwest region of Cameroon. A security post that got attacked by armed individuals. 3 security officials got wounded, and in the following report, Lucy Younger tells us that the victims have been hospitalized in the West Regional Chieftown of Bafoussam, and some suspected individuals have been arrested in connection to the attack. Her report.
Our Fonka Augustine is here to pay a visit to the injured victims of the recent Baba Jum attack orchestrated by separatist fighters. The terrorists attacked the gendarmerie brigade of Babanju. The gendarmes immediately reacted to the ambush. At the end, 3 of them were injured. According to a source, the attack took place on the 28th of June at exactly 1 a.m., wherein some armed men were invading the Babanju brigade. He also praised the vigilante group for alerting the gendarmes on time, resulting to the prompt alert. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate the role played by the vigilante group in this village, because they accompanied the forces of defense and they gave an alert to the defense force who were already positioned to face the terrorists. So it is very important for the population to continue to communicate with the authorities and the military forces in order to combat the threat in our region. As a result of the search carried out by the forces of law and order, supported by the community vigilante group, some suspects were arrested. This comes to confirm the numerous attacks faced by the inhabitants of the 2 English-speaking regions on a daily basis.
48 hours to the kickoff of the 12th edition of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in the northern African country of Morocco. Anxiety has been going to the top as the representative teams are already present in the northern African country. On today's road to Morocco, Smart Jikange will provide some of the teams set on paper to be favorites to clinch the trophy of the Africa Women's Nation Cup in their country. It should be recovered. The host nation Morocco would tackle newcomers Burkina Faso in the inaugural match. His reports.
Cameroon's indomitable Lionesses are roaring to win the Women's African Nations Cup when it starts in Morocco this weekend. Cameroon is amongst the women's side that has never missed out on any of the competition, having won 3 silver medals and 3 bronze. A lot is then expected from Gabriela Budi-Ongene, who was the 2016 player of the tournament, alongside teammates Ushut Ujoya Ajara. Is striking 10-1 aggregate score against the Gambia gave them hopes in this year's competition. The Lionesses were unlucky in 2016 as they were one step away from picking the trophy. The Atlas Lionesses of Morocco are the host of the competition. In November 2021, Sanae Msudi entered the record books of CAF as the first woman to score a hat-trick in the African Women's Champions League. Nothing will definitely stop her in repeating the feat in a Nations Cup they are hosting. It will be Morocco's first participation in the competition after 22 years in the cold. The favorite of the tournament, Nigeria, is 9-time winner of the competition. They have been in all Women Africa Cup of Nations organized by CAF. Before attaining their place in the final tournament, Nigeria eliminated tough teams like Ivory Coast and Ghana. Their route to Morocco has been nothing more than remarkable, with Captain Onome Ebi and Rashidat Ajibade. Much is expected from them, not forgetting the African Woman Player of the Year, Asisat Oshola, who will add so much flair to the team as she follows the footsteps of Nigerian Super Falcon legend Perpetua Nkwocha. The Bayana Queens of South Africa have never missed out on any Women's Nations Cup, winning as many as 6 medals, 4 silver and 2 bronze. They have in their squad the African Women's Coach of the Year, Desiree Ellis, who won the title twice in 2018 and 2019. South Africa could also boast of the best goalkeeper during the CAF Women's Champions League, Andile Dlamini, at the goal post, and the top scorer of the 2018 edition, alongside best player of the tournament, Tembi Nkatlana, to count on in Morocco. The Copper Queens of Zambia are heading to Morocco with one thing in mind: going home with the cup. It will be their third appearance at this 12th edition of the competition. Grace Chanda of Zambia scored the fastest goal in the 2018 edition after 7 minutes of play. She was also the top scorer during the qualifiers for the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo with 8 goals. Barbara Banda will also be followed keenly while in Morocco because she holds the record of scoring back-to-back hat-trick during the 2020 Olympics to become the first female player to achieve this feat.
We stay in sports that the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has published a preliminary list of the CAF Annual Award. The list in the male category has Cameroon represented in the Best African Male Player of the Year award and the Best Team of the Year award. Details with Smart.
The Best Player of the Year, 30 players from 13 countries will be contending to sit on the throne of African football. Amongst them are 3 indomitable lions: Andre Angisa, Karl Toko Ekambi, and Vincent Abubakar. Yusuf Mchangama made history of becoming the first ever player from Comoros to get nominated for the Africa's Player of the Year award. Star names like Riyad Mahrez of Algeria, Sadio Mane and Edouard Mendy of Senegal, Ashraf Hakimi of Morocco, Mohamed Salah of Egypt, and Bertrand Traoré of Burkina Faso are also in the preliminary list of 30 published by CAF, with Senegal having the most number of players nominated, 5, followed by Morocco and Egypt with 4 players each. CAF says the nominees for the Women's Player of the Year award will be announced on July 5th, 2022. Apart from the Best Player award, CAF has also disclosed the names of those nominated as the Best Coach of the Year. The list contains names of 10 coaches, amongst them Aliou Cissé, who won the AFCON with Senegal, and Pitso Motsemane, who had a successful stint with Al Ahly of Egypt. Nominees for the Best Interclub Player of the Year award and Best Club of the Year awards were also made public. 10 nominees were also announced for the Best Young Player of the Year in the men's category. Cameroon is amongst the nominees for the Best National Team of the Year awards. For now, CAF is yet to release nominees for the different awards in the women's category. This year's CAF's award ceremony will take place in Morocco on the 22nd of July 2022, a day before the finals of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
After unjustifiably choosing Yaoundé to organize a special series, Cameroon's Trade Minister has gone ahead to release a price list of some basic items, which has gone controversial among Cameroonians. Reactions streaming on social media since the release of that document. Others say that it is far different from what obtains in Cameroonian market. The prices differ largely. Others also have been asking the mechanism put in place by Cameroon's government through the Ministry of Trade to ensure that the list or the prices stipulated, homologated and published on the list are respected by traders across Cameroon. In a major supermarket in the city of Douala, the reality is different. This was a point of interest, and we hooked up with an economist based in the city of Douala. Edmond Kiati makes a perfect analysis of that price list published by the minister and goes ahead to propose what would have been done by the government in order to keep Cameroonians who are already suffering the effects of the coronavirus pandemic and that of the war in the Anglophone Northwest and Southwest and the far north regions of Cameroon. Edmond Kiati will be talking to us in Talking Points. Stay with us. Coming up is the second segment of news. An economist based in the city of Douala. I told you he will be analyzing the price list of basic commodities published by the trade minister in Cameroon, and goes ahead to say what would have been done by the minister in order to help Cameroonians who are already suffering Take a listen to him. I met him somewhere in the city of Douala.
No, the first analysis I can have after reading these prices is that I think we have to respect the suffering of our fellow compatriots, because we get the realities in the markets, which is far different from what I'm seeing on this list. For instance, I am seeing the price of a liter of oil, refined oil, at 1.2. I don't know if the minister or any of his collaborators can point off a particular shop where we can get oil at this particular price. And I'm seeing like a kilogram of meat without bones at 2.8. I don't know if the minister can indicate a particular place where we can get a kilogram of meat at this particular price. I'm saying this because we got an indicator. This indicator, I got it from your TV like 2 days ago, where the minister organized a special sale in Yaoundé. And many people were there, and they were complaining, saying that the gap between the prices applied in the market and the prices applied in that special sales point is very, very small. The gap is very, very small, very slight. So like 50, and the lady was giving the price of a kilogram of a liter of oil there, 1.5, with a difference of 50 francs. How come the minister is saying in his communique that he has homologated the price of a liter of oil at 1.2? My problem is that, look, it is true that we understand that the government cannot, the margin, the maneuver margin of the government is very narrow in this particular situation. But what we don't want is that the government should not behave as if they are not respecting the suffering of Cameroonians, because sending out this type of informations, what does it mean? Does it mean that Cameroonians should go out there and fight with the traders, fight with people to force them to apply this? What are the measures they are putting in place to make sure that this price has been respected in the market? What are these measures? I'm calling upon the morality, the moral probity of the minister to respect Cameroonians. We are already suffering too much. You know, these prices, people are already paying the high price. So when the Minister of Commerce, of Trade, is behaving like this, what is the meaning of that? Because he himself, he is organizing a special sales just in Yaoundé. Even if the prices were respected in Yaoundé, let's say even these prices, these homologated prices were respected in Yaoundé, what of the people living in the far north, in the north, in the west, and in the south? Does it mean they will have to pay transport to go to Yaoundé just to buy 2 or 3 liters of oil, just to buy 2 or 3 kilograms of meat? Does it mean that's what they got to do? We have to respect ourselves. We are all children of this Cameroon. If the minister, if at all he was serious, he could have said, okay, I will launch a special sales in the 10 regions, at least in the 10 regions of Cameroon, so that many people should. 25 million of Cameroonians cannot benefit from it, but at least let a maximum of people benefit, because even in the central region where they are organizing this in Yaoundé, many people will not benefit from it, even in Yaoundé, because there are people living like in Ahala, people living very far from from downtown. If they have to go to town, they will pay like 1,000 or 2,000 to and fro to go to town. Does it mean they will have to pay 2,000 just to go and buy 2 liters of oil or a kilogram of meat? It doesn't mean it doesn't make sense. So I think what the government should do, they should look for real solutions to this problem, to solve this problem. And if there is nothing they can do, we can understand that. But let them not push Cameroonians to go and fight out there with traders to get to, because they say, okay, this is the price the minister has communicated, because that's the only thing Cameroonians can do. To take these prices, go into the market or into a supermarket and tell the seller, this is what the government has said and we want to buy at these prices. I'm seeing like a bag of cement at 4.6. Everybody knows that for the past 2 months already, there's no cement at 4,600. It doesn't exist in the market. So what does the minister want us to do? Does he want us to go out there, take these prices, go out there and fight with the traders, fight with the sellers, us? Is that what he wants us to do?
The reality in the market is different, and he has failed to specifically tell us where the things are sold or should be sold at the price.
Exactly. And my main indicator is the special sales organized under the banner of the Minister of Commerce, the Trade. And these particular prices in the communique, these homologated prices, were not applied in that particular point. So if the minister himself cannot apply these prices, how does he want traders to apply these prices? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's like more
in general, these special sales organized cannot solve the problem.
No, definitely it cannot solve the problem, because like I said, even in Yaoundé, where this trade, there are many people who cannot go out, they cannot afford to pay transport from where they are living. I don't know, from Equinoxe or from I don't know, there are many places, to get to downtown, where you have to pay tax. The transport fare, transport fare to downtown is like 1,115. So how do you expect somebody to pay 1,500 to and fro just to go and buy a liter of oil, just to go and buy maybe a kilogram of meat or whatsoever? And besides, I want to precise that in this same report we got from that place, there were many goods people could not find at that particular place. It means there's also a problem of scarcity. So there are many things people cannot find at that special point. So what comes if you pay the transport, you go there and you cannot even see what you are looking for.
And now the list of the minister also ignores this product.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It means the minister is not coherent. The minister does not, he's saying something. He is sitting in his office saying things that do not reflect the reality, in the field. And this is not responsible. This is not good for a responsible government.
Edmond, you also said that these homologated prices could have at least if there are follow-up mechanisms for proper implementation.
Exactly. The minister could, in advance, take some special measures to make sure he got people in some particular point. He got a lot of collaborators. He could send this collaborator out there in some special points, like, just to show an example, to make sure that these prices, these homologated prices, are being applied firmly, and if these people do not respect, there must be some kind of penalties, there must be kind of sanctions, to those traders who do not want to apply. But my problem is, what have they done to push these traders to apply? Because nobody wants to sell and then getting no benefit at the end of the day. If traders are there, they are not to sell and make benefit. If they cannot make any profit, it means they will not sell. So what has the minister done to make sure that the traders will really apply these prices? Have they done something particular? If that's the case, why don't they send their collaborators out there to make sure those who will not respect these prices, maybe they can close their shop down, or maybe they can seize their goods and sell it under auction? Why not?
So technically, what is it that can be done in order for traders to respect these prices before being forced to do that?
No, there is nothing that the government has done, because if the traders are selling this, it means where they are getting the good is also at very high price. People are not saying, I may say that, we got some traders who are not of good faith. They are trying to entertain very high prices just to make maximum profit. That is a particular case. But for things like oil, we know where they are refining oil in Cameroon. We know all the industries that are refining oil in Cameroon. Be it, I don't want to name them here, for publicity reasons, but we know them. So if there is a control to be made, the first control should be at the production point, to make sure when they produce oil, they give it out at a particular price, and this should be official. The minister should go out there and, together with the owner of this production, the owner of these industries, they make a communique, a joint communique, to say that, okay, this is the price of a liter of oil when it gets out of our industry. That's what the minister has to do. And when it gets out of the industry, this is the particular price. And in the market, the percentage to be added is like 5%, or 10%, not maximum, not much than 10%, so that everybody will calculate and know that no, the oil in the market should be at this particular price. If that is not done, we don't know how much the people are getting the oil at the production point. We don't know how much they are getting the oil there. So how will we force them to give us the oil at this particular homologated prices? It doesn't make sense.
Finally, what can be the long run effect?
The real impact is a social impact, because if people cannot longer afford to get, these commodities, and we are talking of vital commodities. If people cannot afford to get like oil, like rice, all these things that we purchase every day for our survival, I mean, how do you expect people to live peacefully with themselves and with the others? The real impact is it is social impact. There will be no stability if people cannot feed themselves. If people cannot afford to feed themselves at very low cost. If you see, like for instance today, the price of the refined oil, a liter of refined oil is in between 1,500 and 2,000, because not only it is very expensive, but it's very scarce too. So at time you can even have the 1,500, but you cannot afford to see it somewhere. It does not exist anywhere. So where there is speculation, and people are attempted to increase the prices the more. So at time you can find these prices, this oil at 2,000, which is not good. So who will buy it? So the real impact is a social impact, stability. You remember in 2008 where people went on strike. What was the cause? The cause was what? Because people could not afford to feed themselves normally. So that's the real problem. And in the economy, how do you expect the economy to turn normally when people cannot people cannot buy normally? Today, just to feed like 3 or 2 people at home, you have to disburse like 5,000. I think there's only one thing the government can afford to do, if at all they can do it. They have only one lever where they can push, is to get taxes, the VAT, out of some basic commodities. But can they afford to do it? I doubt. Why? Because we are under a program with the IMF, and IMF was already pushing to remove the subvention on the petroleum products. So can we afford, now that we are under a program with the IMF, can we afford to get VAT off the prices of the basic commodities? Because that's the only thing they can do. Because the VAT is like 19.25%. So imagine if they get VAT off 19.25%, which is almost 20%. If we get that off the cost of some basic commodities, that will help a lot. But that's the only, like I said, that's the only lever that the government can push upon, at least to reduce the prices. But I doubt they can do that, because most of these commodities are being imported. So the price at the source is being determined not in Cameroon. So the government there's not much the government can do, because to influence the price is to influence the price at the source, as the main source. But the main source of most of these basic commodities is coming from abroad. So how do you expect the government to influence on the prices?
And encouraging local production is a long run approach.
No, I mean the local production is equal to zero. What do we produce in Cameroon? Rice? Is it rice? Is it oil? Is it what? We are importing mostly everything. So that's the problem. The only thing to do is to get the VAT off the products. But I doubt we can do that, because we are still under a program with the IMF, and they will not allow that.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm the one to say thanks, sir.
Economist Edmond Kiate talking to us somewhere in the city of Douala. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. We thank you for your keen attention. Interesting information continue on your #1 television channel. You're going to be having Equinoxe Rush shortly after this, and Julien Beth Bisa will be coming with a complete version of the news in the French language at 8 p.m. I will be back here tomorrow Saturday at 8 p.m. for the Barangwa edition, God willing. Still with Equinoxe.